Yeah. Check 1, 2.
This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on Hump Day? Happy Hump Day. It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. Hope you and yours are doing well today. We're live at the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios right here on the Bama Central YouTube channel and Facebook page. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. Lots of you downloaded the show yesterday. We really appreciate that so much. You for finding us on your favorite podcast platform. As we said, we're here for the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central with our friend Theo Fernandez, ready to talk about Alabama basketball's game against Arkansas tonight. We'll get a little recap of last night's Alabama baseball victory over Samford. A little late drama up there in Birmingham, so we're excited to hear from Theo as he drove up there for that. We'll circle back to our Alabama football top 10 conversation yesterday. We'll talk about a passing game coordinator, passing game specialist that Alabama has hired, and do a lot more with you guys today on the Joe Gaither Show. We appreciate you watching the show, finding those shows, subscribing to the Bama Central YouTube channel. Leave us a comment at Joe Gaither 6, at Theo Fernandez. You can leave us a voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800 if you want to be a part of the program. We're going to have a lot of fun, and the program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. Call them today for all of your roofing needs. They'll come out and give you a free roof inspection. Check them out online at roofturtle.com to see all of their services and everything that they can offer and ways that they can take care of your home. Check them out online today at roofturtle.com. With that, good morning, Theo. How we doing today, sir?
Morning, Joe. I'm doing great. I'm up. I'm refreshed. We saw some baseball last night in Homewood. It's a great morning.
Absolutely. So why don't we start with the baseball since we can recap that. We won't get too deep into it. We'll get ankle deep, not hip deep for baseball. Bama baseball winning 3-2, so moving their record to 3-1 on the season. Down looked like most of the game, maybe, or maybe Samford scored later to put them down 2-0. But three runs in the eighth inning led Alabama to victory. What stood out to you? What did you take away from last night's victory?
Yeah, first of all, just really good midweek start from JT Blackwood. Went 6 scoreless, gave up 2 hits. There was not much offense at all to speak of. Up until the 7th inning, Austin Morris comes in, relieves Blackwood, and lets 2 runs come in. So Samford just was able to deliver off Morris, had some control issues, a couple wild pitches, 2 more that nearly brought in runs that Brady Neal behind the plate had to save from getting away. So just not Morris's best performance, but allowed 2 runs. Alabama came in with just 1 hit through 7 innings. They had loaded the bases twice up to that point and come away with nothing. So hitting with men on through 4 games, a really big problem. He stranded 11 in the season opener, and he stranded, I actually don't have the exact number. I think it's probably right around 10 for yesterday's game, but just a underwhelming to start. But all you need is one good frame of offense, right? In a game like that, you've hung around in these midweek games so often. It just comes down to, can you survive? Alabama survived. Will Platner hits a sac fly to bring in the first run for the Crimson Tide, and then Peyton Steele is looking like a guy who is going to be a very, very consistent hitter for this team. 2-run homer over the right center field wall. Alabama pulls ahead 3-2. Hagan Banks strikes out 5 in 2 innings to get the Tide out of the game. So overall, you did what you needed to do, right? Justin LeBron had some very impressive defensive plays. Those highlights have been circulating on X, but it was a solid game, right? You came in and you didn't add anything to your loss column, and that's all you can really ask for in these games.
Absolutely. That is very, I mean, that's the main goal right there, is to stay clean through the midweek. Justin Osterhaus, did he get off the slump?
No, I mean, he walked.
I mean, it's not
twice.
slump yet.
It's not a slump yet. You're
But
only
just
4 games in, and he walked twice, so he was getting on base. He did score. He's the first guy to touch home plate for Alabama in that game off that.
it's a good plate discipline. Well done.
Flatner.
Playing third base again yesterday?
No, so he actually hasn't played third base, which, Rob Vaughn threw us for a little bit of a loop in his preseason. Like, oh, this guy will play everywhere. He'll probably start the season at third base. No, Jason Torres has gone back to third base. Torres has impressed through 4 games. He really, really slumped down the stretch last season. Just one multi-hit game over the last 2 months.
I remember that.
Yeah, there were times when he'd walk up and it just looked like he had no confidence in getting on base. And you certainly didn't have any confidence in him getting on base. So he's really turned that around. He had a phenomenal game. Had a phenomenal doubleheader, but especially the first game on Saturday. And I believe he notched a hit and maybe 2 walks yesterday for Alabama. Osterhaus still looking for his first hit. He's still got the 3 zeros in the batting average, but it's only a matter of time before he starts rolling and we see the caliber of player that was brought in.
So Alabama gets it done against Samford, 3-2, taking their record to 3-1. Good little midweek competition. They'll be back at it today at 4:00 for a game against Alabama State that you can check out at the Joe if you are into some baseball before Alabama basketball tips off at 6:00. Should be another midweek win. Good performance. Alabama State, not so.
There's a little bit of a difference between SWAC baseball and SoCon baseball. So Alabama State is more of a, this is one that you probably come in and run rule. It's going to be hopefully the one and only game in the season that I'm not there covering for Bama Central. I will be filming the game for WVUA, the basketball game, that is, which, I coming into the season tried to pick the least damaging big matchup for me to film. Right, avoiding weekends, avoiding these, the times when I knew there'd be big things going on. So missing an Alabama State game to film top 25 basketball is a trade that I love the baseball beat, but I'll make that most of this.
Absolutely. It's going to be a huge night in Coleman Coliseum, and hopefully everybody gets into Coleman to watch Alabama take on the Razorbacks as Nate Oates takes on John Calipari again. Nate was pretty clear yesterday, calling on the crowd, not a bad way, not in a you guys think way, but in a hey, we need you for this one kind of a way. And so the game's at 6:00, and I do think the regular ticket holder will be there. The big question to me is, will the students be back on board with this team? They've been off of the bandwagon since Alabama lost to Tennessee. It's been kind of pretty sporadic, pretty ugly student section since Alabama lost to Tennessee. But you're there at 6:00 tonight. Alabama is a 3.5-point favorite over the Arkansas Razorbacks in a monstrous game for the Crimson Tide and for what they want to do the rest of the year. You want to make a run in the SEC tournament? We've talked about it ad nauseum the last 2.5 weeks. You've got to have a top 4 seed. Well, Arkansas is just above you in the standings at 9-3. Alabama at 8-4. Alabama's one of 4 teams at 8-4 and is sitting basically in the 5th spot because of the tiebreakers as a B. So Alabama is outside of the double bye scenario for the SEC tournament. You beat Arkansas, you bring them back into, basically you move into at least the 4th spot, depends on other tiebreakers, but you move into at least the 4th spot by beating Arkansas, because you bring Arkansas and Alabama even on the standings, and you jump Arkansas with your tiebreak, your head-to-head win tiebreaker. So you'd move up at least 1 spot tonight, which is going to be huge. And obviously the rest of the league is playing so other games to really impact the standings, but you move up at least 1 spot, which is the real goal here, to be in a top 4 seed. But look, Arkansas has been I think I wrote yesterday, won 6 of their last 7 games. Three wins in a row, lost one, and then ended up winning 3 in a row again. It seems like Calipari is getting things really on track there for Arkansas. Is that what I had? Yeah, 6 of the last 7, and really 7 of the last 9. They lost to Georgia, and they've lost to Kentucky, who Georgia ended up beating Kentucky last night. So
Wow.
pretty interesting game for them last night.
That's massive for the Bulldogs. They were slumping, yeah.
It really is. Your SEC results last night, Florida waxed South Carolina. If you look, you were feeling bad about an Alabama 14-point victory over South Carolina, 89-75 on Saturday. Well, your Florida Gators beat the South Carolina Gamecocks by 14 points at home last night, 76-62. There's 14 for them. Georgia ends up beating Kentucky 86-78, and Texas, who cares, beat LSU, who cares, 88-85.
Well, Texas. So another thing, you lose this game, Texas also jumps you in the SEC standings. Because Texas is 1 game behind. They win, so now we're a half game ahead of them. We lose, and
don't break my heart there, Theo.
So when you just really look at this game, it is such a swing of the pendulum one way or the other. You win this game, you're in pole position to get a top 2 spot in the conference, right? Because you have that matchup coming against Tennessee. I'm going to be honest, I think Vanderbilt is going to lose more games than you down the stretch the rest of the season.
I mean, Tennessee's going to win tonight to basically keep your pressure on. Tennessee's going to beat Oklahoma.
Yeah. But if you win this game, you're likely going to be in a position where you can afford to lose that Tennessee game.
I think, that's fair.
And still be a top 4 seed. You lose this game, that Tennessee game is an absolute must win, which, obviously we want a Tennessee game to be a win regardless, but you can afford to lose it. And going into Knoxville, it's going to be a tough game against a team that has owned Nate Oates historically. So we'll see there.
Vanderbilt is on the road tonight at Missouri. So those are the other 2 teams that are above you in the standing. I mean, Florida, obviously. But you're playing Arkansas. You've got Vanderbilt and Tennessee, who are also ahead of you in the standings. So Vanderbilt is a 3.5-point road favorite. That's going to be at 8 o'clock, so it'll be after Alabama's game, but will be very impactful to Alabama's standings.
So now I guess it's down to just a 3-way tie, technically, for...
Yes, as of right now,
Kentucky loss. You were ahead of Kentucky,
right? As of right now, it's 8-4. It's 3 teams at 8-4: Vandy, Tennessee, and Alabama.
Yeah, it's just crazy because we talk about all the struggles that Alabama's had, right? And you start 4-4, and things look so bad. You win tonight, you're in a tie for 2nd place. At worst, that is, I mean. You're right in it. Somehow, with all the struggles, you've got an SEC conference that you are still right in the mix for, where you can end up in any spot, really 2 to 7 in the conference standings. And this Arkansas game against a Hall of Fame coach and the guy who I think is the best player in the conference means a lot for the season, means a lot for the postseason. This will be a fun one.
Yeah, if you lose, you're going to drop to 6th because Texas will jump you. Yeah. You'll stay ahead of Kentucky at 8-5, but you'll drop to 6. You'll drop to 6, but more importantly, you'll have a 2-game gap. It'll be a 2 and really a 2.5-game gap on Arkansas, and it'll be a full game gap on Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Right there. So huge games tonight. But Theo, I do not feel very good about it as Alabama's taking on Arkansas at 6 o'clock tonight. I think the Arkansas Razorbacks look like the real deal with Trevon Brazile, Nick Pringle, Billy Richmond, Malik Thomas, and Darius Acuff going 5-1 right there on your starting lineup. Specifically Darius Acuff, obviously, for everything we talked about yesterday, SEC Player of the Year candidate, leading the league in scoring and rebound, scoring and assists. Scoring and assists. He's basically a 1/10 of a point off of the scoring lead, and he is leading in assists right now. And then you have you have a dynamic guard. This is the recipe that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Dynamic guard, and then two bigs who are actual serious bigs. Because who can who's going to be hanging with Nick Pringle if Aiden Sherrill is hanging with Trevon Brazil? Who's going to be hanging with Trevon Brazil if Aiden Sherrill is hanging out with Nick Pringle? It's going to be, you're going to leave somebody, one of those two guys gets the Taylor Boboan, are you healthy enough to play? Which I believe he is. He was listed as questionable last night on the injury report. I do think he will play tonight. Carter Knox was listed as out for Arkansas, so that will be a little bit of a, okay, Bama, here's you a little bit of a reprieve. But their team is extremely talented, extremely skilled, and I think that they have gone through a little bit of fire. I mean, look, they got their rear ends kicked to start SEC play by Auburn. Auburn beat them 95-73 at home. But ever since then, it's been really good results. Beat South Carolina, lost to Georgia, then 3 in a row, beating Vandy, LSU, or Oklahoma. Losing to Kentucky, pretty close game, losing to Kentucky, but emotions, John Calipari, Kentucky. All right, now 3 in a row, Mississippi State, LSU, and avenging the Auburn loss, beating Auburn. Like, they've had some good results, but I don't know. They haven't really. I mean, you beat Texas Tech in non-conference play. You beat Louisville in non-conference play. You lost to Duke in non-conference play. You lost to Michigan State. Duke 80-71.
Okay, I was going to say I thought it was close.
And so they've been up and down, but it just seems like Arkansas is stacking some momentum so far. I am very concerned just about the talent that's coming into Coleman Coliseum tonight, but then the flip side, what gives me confidence? Nate Oates has been all over Calipari over the last handful of meetings. So, like, maybe stylistically and schematically, Alabama's going to have an advantage. But the personnel, especially I think this is one of the first times without Charles Bediako, the lack of depth in the front court is going to be glaring. And so I think Alabama's got a pretty hard recipe tonight in Coleman Coliseum with the Razorbacks coming to town.
How excited is Nick Pringle for this game?
12. If 10 is the max, he's on 12.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, you guys, because I want to say it was around this time in the season, right, when he got that suspension, right? Yeah, I feel like it was a mid to late February thing when everything was coming to a head, and oh man, what's going on? And Oates was asked about him yesterday and talked about, he was always a great teammate. It looks like he's gone back to his roots this year, playing with high energy. And that really is what he is. Like, he's an electrifying basketball player when he's on the court doing good things for your team. It's one of those guys who fires everybody up, right? Now he has a chance to really, you talk about a guy who plays off energy. Well, there's going to be a lot of energy directed towards him on the basketball court by this Alabama fan base. Like, right, he will be the most booed player on the floor, I believe. I'm excited to see what that looks like, what he does with it, and what Alabama's plan for, making sure this guy doesn't come in and having a monster game against us.
Yeah, so the last handful of matchups, let's try to, because I'm trying to figure out the exact, Alabama is 1, 2. Okay, they've only played him once over there with Arkansas. So they beat him last year. February of 2025, 85-81. They beat Arkansas last year. So he's 1-0. Nate's 1-0 against John Calipari.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about Pringle. They beat South Carolina last year.
Yeah, because he was at South Carolina last season. 1-0 against Calipari at Arkansas. And then I think the team split the year before Calipari's last year at Kentucky. So I remember us going up to Lexington and getting ran off the gym.
They're up to 4 in a row against Kentucky, but these first two don't count. All 4 of these don't count, right? Because he started there in 24, right?
Yeah.
So these 4 doesn't count.
You went 1-1 that last year. Yeah.
Correct.
But 1-0 against Calipari. So this is the first time Calipari's been here since taking the job.
Correct.
It's a fun game, man. Calipari's always been one of my favorite coaches. I met him in the streets of New Orleans, 2022 Final Four, just walking around, and really nice guy. Struck up a really cool conversation for a couple minutes. Got my photo with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
he's a personable person.
Yes, I love it. I love hearing him speak every year at Media Day.
He's always been good in the press room as far as answering questions and dealing with questions, and trying to give a sensible answer without trying to without giving too much away.
Like he's one of those guys that I'm gonna miss so much when he is done coaching, because it will.
He's a cheater. I'm not gonna miss him.
I'm gonna miss him. We're all gonna miss seeing a guy like that coach. Like this generation.
Speak for yourself.
This generation of coaches, right? Him, Pitino, Izzo, they're gonna hold that nostalgic factor where
the only one of those three for me is Tom Izzo, as far as nice nostalgia.
No Pitino.
Pitino cheater as well.
Yeah, don't be talking negative about Pitino right before a trip to New York, Joe. You don't know what'll end up happening.
You're exactly right. There'll be some bad people trying to follow me up there. But no, Tom Izzo, the only one that of those three that you just mentioned that operated with class.
Hey,
operated above board.
I recall John Calipari cutting down nets at the Final Four. And
after cheating, cheating,
still cut him down.
Who needs an ACT score?
One of the best basketball teams we're ever going to see.
Will you take my ACT, Theo? You probably score a lot better than I would have.
Definitely score better than Derrick Rose.
No, exactly. All right, so we'll get back on the rails here. Arkansas is 16th. According to our friend Kenny Pomeroy. Alabama's 18 now in KenPom, so lower. You had some movement over the last day, 2 days, first Monday and Tuesday games of the week. Arkansas is number 6 overall in offensive efficiency, number 41 in defensive efficiency, and plays not slow either at 25th overall in pace. And you think, well, 25 is not that big. Well, there's 300 some odd teams. So 25, you're doing pretty good in pace. Alabama, number 1 in pace still. So great job. Alabama's offense has taken a little bit of a step back lately. Was at the number 1 overall offensive efficiency. Illinois has passed you. Illinois and Purdue has passed you. So it's now Illinois 1, Purdue 2, Alabama at 3 overall in offensive efficiency. And Alabama's defense still fluctuating in that 55 to 70 range, is now at 57 overall in defensive efficiency. So a slightly better offense than the Arkansas Razorbacks. A bit worse, too much. 41 to 57. It sounds like a big gap, but when you think about 300 some odd teams, a 16 slot gap is not as big as it sounds. But not as good, not as efficient defensively, and that's what I think Nick Pringle and Trevon Brazile does for you for you on the Arkansas side of things. I think this is going to be a huge game for Labaron. Everything that we have talked about Labaron in the last maybe 2.5, 3 weeks comes to the forefront tonight. First, Labaron, will you lead this team? Will you lead this team? Because Arkansas is going to go on some runs, and Arkansas is going to make some plays, and they're going to make some plays that will end up on ESPN's highlight reel because they're just that talented. Will you take it upon yourself to guard Darius Acuff? That's where it all starts. Will you guard Darius Acuff? You stay in front of him. You've struggled staying in front of basically every really quality guard that you've played this season. I wrote it yesterday, Alabama, that he's been outscored. You've played really 5 big guard games, and he's been outscored in 4 of them. Against against Purdue, he got outscored by Florida's lead guard. You got outscored in 4 of them. You got outscored. Braden Burry's got you, Arizona. And then not only that, stand in front of the other guard. When you have the basketball, Labaron Philon, in these 5 other games that you've played, 19 turnovers. 19 turnovers. The only game that you didn't have multiple turnovers was in these big guard games was the Kentucky game. Let me pull my list here because as I was writing right there, big guard matchups. Thank you. This is on BamaCentral.com where I wrote this yesterday. against Purdue, Arizona, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Florida. Alabama, he was outscored in every single game by the other lead guard. Now, you won the Kentucky game. You lost the other 4. You had 19 turnovers across those 5 matchups. Only the Kentucky game was the game where you had a single turnover. The other games, you had 3, you had 4, you had 5 turnovers. Not good. So, are you going to stay in front of the other lead guard? Let's just start right there. Yeah. You can start answering these questions after I lay them all out there. And will you protect the basketball when Alabama has the ball? Will you be efficient, make good decisions, be deliberate with the basketball? That's where I think you've really seen Labaron, I don't want to say fall off. Fall off is way too far, but take a step back and not been as good this year. He has not been as deliberate with the basketball as I would like him to be, or as Alabama's best player, should be Alabama's best player, ball dominant guard, should be deliberate with the basketball, should be efficient with the basketball and take care of the ball. If you're going to turn the ball over 5 times a night, you can forget it. You can forget it. Go ahead and give them, 8 fast break points because you've been ripped and it goes back the other way and you're in an 8-0 hole and you're really in about a 15-0 hole when you think about the offense that could have been had you not turned the basketball over. So for me, Labaron, are you going to stand in front of the other defender? Darius Acuff, one of the best guards in the country, number 1 guard in the class of 2025, and everybody's talking Mr. All-World. And then secondly, will you be efficient and deliberate on the offensive end? Because you got 2 really solid rim protectors for Arkansas. You're going to have to get the ball into the paint to generate the good 3-point looks that Alabama wants to get. Alabama wants to shoot the 3, but you want to collapse the defense first. You want to threaten the rim first, and you want to force Arkansas into rotation first. So will you, Labaron, get the ball into the paint, or will you just dribble, crossover, step back 3, settle. Ball never gets into the paint. Arkansas never goes in rotation, and you either make or miss a low percentage 3-point shot. I think those things need to happen tonight for Labaron in order for Alabama to win the game.
Yeah, Joe, deliberate is such a big word for this game. You used to talk about his offense. Like, when you are the guy that is supposedly supposed to be, the offensive lifeblood of the team, right? The guy that everything flows through. I should never be sitting down and watching you play basketball and getting the feeling of, oh, you don't really know what you're doing with the ball. And with Labaron Philon, there's sometimes you'll watch him play and he just it doesn't seem like he has a clear direction of where he's going with things, right? So many times when you are a player of his caliber, you can afford to just make a decision and go with it, right? You can afford to. We like the improvisation by these point guards, but so many times, whatever you choose, if you just go do it, you're going to beat a defender, right? Or you're going to find, oh, wow, I can deliver this pass that other guards maybe can't. Or, oh, wow, because of what a good player I am, because of how the opposing team guards me, look, I've got a teammate open, and, oh, wow, look how this works out. When you are indecisive and, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll drive. Nah, I'll just pull up for a 3. In which he's shooting the 3 better this year. Absolutely.
He is.
It's good to see. That 3-point shooting would be so much more meaningful if we were playing deliberate offense for 20 minutes of the game on that side of the court. So I really want to see Philon play with more of a sense of intentionality. Philon. I also, not to overstate things, this is a multi-million-dollar game. Like the amount of money that is on the line for both of these guards, but especially for Labaron Philon.
Because people are sold at the draft level on Darius Acuff.
Yeah, right.
They're
on the line for him.
But they're sitting there going to be arguing with each other who gets to draft him first. And I think that Labaron is still going to be in the high-end draft conversation. But Labaron, you go out here and you're not going to hold Acuff scoreless. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Can you hold him to 18 or less? What's a good number? Because he's going to score.
I don't think there is a number when you
is it 22 or less
when you get to these high level matchups. The number means a lot less than how the points come, right?
You got to make him shoot 40 shots.
Yeah, right. You got to make him do things tough. Make him work for every single point he gets. Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, like, you can tell some points mean more than others, right?
Can you get a steal and a fast break dunk to light Coleman Coliseum on fire?
Right. I mean, you remember, think about last year, right? When Philon, playing as more of a role player on that team, was so much more dependent on moments like that, right? On, oh, wow, this guy's such a fast twitch. Oh, wow, he just picked this guy's pocket and he's off to the hoops. Like, we want to see those kind of moments because you got to remember, like, you're not going to be having this role in an NBA offense, at least for the first couple years of your career. There is still a world where Philon does not go until the back third of the first round.
Right, 22, 3,
right?
4, 5.
Like, that is very much in play still for Labaron Philon. So is the lottery. So is being a fringe, top 10 pick going in that 8-9 range. You can play your way into that. But like, this game has to be the starting point of your climb up the NBA draft boards because that, I mean, like, Scout's been watching all year for Philon, and they've been rightfully underwhelmed by what they've seen. So many people online have described it as the quietest 21 points of all time. And that really is what it feels like. Go make a statement. Go score a loud 21 points tonight.
31.
Whatever you score, do it with intentionality, like we said. And then also, go make a statement. Like, that's what this game comes down to so much for me. Like, excuse me. I mean, it is the biggest remaining guard matchup until at least March. Let's see what he does with it.
So Alabama will be there at 6 p.m. tonight in Coleman Coliseum. You'll be able to see it on Big Boy ESPN. We're gonna have Henry Scalar join us. You're good if you want to cough. Okay, all right. We're going to have Henry Scalar join us, so you can find him at Henry O. Scalar on the Twitter machine. We'll have Hunter DeCiver covering the game as well. I will be writing from parts unknown as we're going out of town here soon, but it'll be great. And I hope you all watch it and follow the coverage. And I think Theo's probably going to talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got a Joe Gaither-less Joe Gaither show tomorrow. Me and Hunter DeCiver are going to sit down and talk about the game, recap it. It'll be fun.
If you send me any voicemails, if you send us any voicemails, I will email it to Theo so he can play it. So make sure you do that. You give us your reaction to the ball game, to the win or to the loss at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Let's take a voicemail, and then we'll predict the game, and we'll hit one more kind of very short football topic before we end the program. We'll go out to the voicemail line and find our friend Hunter Brantley.
So, big question. I asked Nate Oates this yesterday, and he seemed baffled by this. However, I don't think it's that outlandish of a question. Can Darius Acuff be the best guard that John Calipari has ever coached? Obviously, you can't project what he'll be in the NBA considering he was 18 years old. But from a college standpoint, what they have done in college, no person has ever led the league in points and assists in the same season. That is on the table for him. If he does that and he accomplishes that feat, is he the best guard Calipari has ever coached? I think that's a fair, hard yes to that question. I really do. Love to know y'all's thoughts.
Boom, Hunter Brantley asking, is Darius Acuff? Well, he said it in a nice way. He said it in a way that makes him ultimately right. Can Darius Acuff be the best guard that John Calipari has ever coached? Well, can he be, Hunter? Yes, he can be. He could be. He what he has done through 4 months of his freshman year, puts him on track to be in conversations with the Derrick Roses, with the SGAs, with the Eric Bledsoes, with the John Walls of the world, right? It puts him in, it sets him, but you got to finish here, my friend. You got to Darius Acuff. You've got to have him finish these 7-8 weeks really, really strongly and take Arkansas deep in a tournament run to keep him in those conversations. I think Coach Oates was rightfully baffled. Sorry, Hunter,
yes.
but was rightfully baffled by your question because it's an impossible question. It's an impossible question where we are right now. Can he be the best guard? Yes, he could be. Would anyone say that right now? Would anyone put their $100 on that right now? I'm sorry, Hunter. They would because you have guys like Derrick Rose and SGA that exist. But could he? Sure. We'll see what he does over the next 7-8 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, just obviously from the NBA standpoint, like the talent is unreal. But even just the way that these guys played at Kentucky for Calipari, like what John Wall did in that 2010 season, SEC Player of the Year, leading one of the best teams in the nation.
Cultural phenomenon. Yes. Call me when Darius Acuff has his own dance move. The John Wall. You never remember that?
Familiar.
Okay, all right.
I'm never gonna be. I'm not staying up at 3 a.m. and putting on Darius Acuff college highlights. Meanwhile, the John Wall video is like the most electrifying 13 minutes you're ever gonna watch. Even like Tyler Ulis, the ultimate quarterback, right? Like just the ultimate leader of an offense on that team.
Tyler Hero.
Hey, Tyler Ulis, people forget about him, man. SEC Player of the Year, led that team to I think it was the 35-0 start before Frank the Tank, ended that season, one of the best college games ever. Like, man, the guards that have contributed. I mean, De'Aaron Fox coming in, leading them to the
Elite Eight. Yes.
Like I can, as far as guys like names at the NBA level, like the Malik Monks, there are just so many.
Didn't he coach Rajon Rondo?
Yeah, I think he did. Huh. I don't know about Rondo. Jamal Murray. Can just go on for so long on the talent he has produced. And yes, Acuff is a part of that lineage. I mean,
Rondo was an 2006 first round pick. And yeah. Oh, no. Calipari was still at Memphis. 2000
so Rondo
to 09.
was Kentucky, but it was okay.
Yeah, so they overlap. He didn't get there in time.
He was a Patino guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, if I was a point guard, if I was a young guard, I'm going to play for Calipari because I know that he's gonna turn you into something big time, and you have that special season. Like, he is the best guard developer at the college level of all time.
So for now, no, Hunter, you're not absurd. Hunter, you're in the right ballpark. I mean, Darius Acuff is in all of their ballparks right now, but you've got to see what he's got to do over these next 6 weeks, 8 weeks or so. Now, he caveated it and said if he actually does lead the league in scoring and assists, then he will be. But I think you've also got to take Arkansas to an Elite Eight round.
Elite Eight, at least.
Right. You've got to take Arkansas into a Saturday SEC tournament semifinals, at least. Probably a final. Probably a final. And then ultimately, Hunter, what you're asking is where I'm kind of a little not confused, but like I think is a breaking point is all these John Calipari guards were short-lived in college, so their resume is not that deep, but they went on to the NBA and absolutely have dominated. I mean, Devin Booker has been just unguardable for like a decade, basically. And so, where are you ending this? Are you ending this at just their college career, Hunter, or are you ending it as well? Derrick Rose won an MVP, SGA won an MVP. Yeah, Devin Booker's been a scoring monster in the NBA. Like, where are you ending your? Oh, that's where John Calipari's guards' legacies kind of clip.
And that's what's weird. Like, SGA wasn't even a full-time starter as a college player, right? Like, he was primarily coming off the bench, but just by virtue of being a Calipari guard, he was willing, because that was at the peak of his getting players, right? And that's, I'm willing to come and play a much smaller role on a team because I know exactly what I'm getting in this program. So, it's like, I don't know, though, because you had, like, John Wall was a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tyler Ulis played 3 years. He was a little different because he was there for a while. But, so many of these guys are one and dones, as Acuff will be. So it's hard to, you can't really evaluate these guys based off of their one college season because that's not the reason we're talking about them, right? The reason we're having this conversation isn't because, John Calipari had a bunch of guards who had really good seasons in college. Talking about this because he's got half the all-star list at the guard position over the past 12 years,
He's got that that Nick Saban graphic of billion dollars in NBA contracts.
Yeah, that's not even including, right? Like DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, the amount of college talent, the amount of guys he gets to his college. It's incredible, man. And don't tell me you're not going to miss watching John Calipari coach.
All right, Theo, gun to your head. Who has the better game tonight, Labaron Philon or Darius Acuff? Give us that and go ahead and roll us right into your predictions.
I think Acuff will have a slightly better game, but I think we're going to be sitting down on Thursday talking about, man, I just watched 2 of the best guards in the country go head-to-head. I like Alabama to win this basketball game. I've talked negative about this team. I've made a statement about where I think this team will end up that I still stand by. But you are playing with the momentum right now. You picked up the hard wins 2 weeks ago. You picked up the easy wins last week. You're rolling. You have, I believe, a home crowd that will be all over this game, that will, come out and people will be like, yeah, okay, this is the Alabama basketball fan base that we remember from a couple of years ago. I think everything points to an Alabama win. I think you can mitigate the damage done inside. And I think Latrell Wrightsell will be such a massive part of this because the way he's been draining shots lately. I think we could see another 18-point outburst from. And like, you got to remember, Philon and Acuff, 2 of the A-tier level guards in the SEC. Holloway's a half step behind. Arkansas does not have a second guard at the level of Aiden Holloway. So for Labaron Philon, it's almost like, yes, you want to go out and you want to go toe-to-toe with this guy. To a certain extent, you may not need to because you have the shooters and the scorers around you. Whereas Acuff does need to be a little more. Arkansas's offense depends a little more on Darius Acuff. I like Alabama to win this basketball game in a thriller. I think it will go down to the wire. Go 91-86 Alabama.
91-86. So you're pretty close. Ken Palm has them at 92-89, Alabama winning at home. I'm in agreement with you that Darius Acuff will have a better statistical game than Labaron Philon. More points, probably about a wash on the rebounds and assists. Labaron, if you can get one of those steals and break away for a dunk, I think that would be huge just for the momentum and just for kind of the game flow. Look, Theo's been all over this basketball team for the last about 3 or 4 games now. He's been predicting what Alabama will do. I don't feel good about it. I'm hearing Theo saying Alabama will eking out a win. I think that is good. I mean, I think it's possible, but for just something in me thinks that Alabama is going to struggle defending in the paint, and staying in front of Darius Acuff. I think you'll struggle on the defensive end. Will you shoot your way out of it? You have in the last couple of games. I mean, bad shooting in the Ole Miss game in the first half, amazing shooting in the second half, and then kind of vice versa against South Carolina. Good shooting in the first half, bad in the second half. If you only have one good half of shooting against Arkansas, I'm not feeling good about it. I'm going to take the Razorbacks to give Alabama their 4th home loss of the season at 89 at 89-81. 89-81 Razorbacks. Tragic.
This is going to be a fun one, man. Like, we remember talking after that A&M game on Man. We just saw some great basketball played in Coleman Coliseum. This will be another one of those games. And maybe it's crazy. I can't believe we're this far into the season, but this is the last big-time matchup as far as the caliber of teams at Coleman Coliseum. Obviously, the Iron Bowl of basketball is a big-time game. Auburn's not that good. Auburn is, going to be on the bubble within the next week and a half.
I just hate that so much for Stephen Pearl. I just thought that he was just going to come right in and take him right to the Final Four. I just hate that for him. I know he's such a good man, such a good-hearted fella. All right, let's transition here to football. I got one football topic to talk about with you guys, but before we do, I want to tell you about Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. Check them out online today at roofturtle.com. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. You can find them online at roofturtle.com or give them a call at 877-787-6635 today. You can set up your free roof inspection. They'll come out, check out your roof, make sure that there are no trouble spots and that you're good to go for the spring storm season ahead. Roofing with heart, built to last. Purple Turtle Roofing. All right, the one football topic before we get out of here for the day, and I want to circle us back to yesterday. Yesterday, our friend Dax called, and I really appreciate his call. He was texting me after saying that, oh, man, it was hard to come up with him on the fly. And I was like, yeah, it was, actually, because once you get past 4 or 5, you can kind of go in any real direction that you wanted to. I know that you didn't agree with some of the back end of my list, and that's okay, and we didn't agree with the back end of some of your list or some of Dax's list either. So what I want to do, though, is take an element of Dax's list. Dax had one transfer. He put Racing Delgatti at 5 or 6 on his list. And so what I want to do, it gets hard to project the draft. He took a transfer and a quarterback, which 2 big, bold swings. I applaud you, Dax. I absolutely applaud you there because they could end up being top 10 players on Alabama's team this year. They absolutely could be. But it's just hard to project. First, which quarterback is actually going to win the job, and then what transfers are going to make an impact here in Tuscaloosa in 2026. Obviously, you hope they all do, but the level of impact, I guess, is subjective, and so it just depends on what you think is the most impact versus the least impact. I want to take his element of Racing Delgatti, Theo, and ask which transfer. If I say you have to rework your 10, you have to. But you have to include one transfer. Are you going to go with Noah Rodgers? You've got him out there playing wide receiver. Are you going to go with one of these defensive linemen, one of these offensive linemen? You're going to go with you want to go with Caleb Woodson or the linebacker transfer. You've got a lot of different directions that you can go in for which transfer could be one of the top 10 players on this Alabama football team this year. Who, Theo, would you put into if I said you got to swap one of your 10 out? It can be number 10 if you want to. Which transfer do you think becomes one of Alabama's top 10 players this year?
Well, okay, so I think Delgatti is the safest answer, I believe, because it's a guy who looks like he has a clear path to a starting job. We can see, the elements of why he probably can be a good player for this team. But when you look at I think Javen James might be another where it's, okay, lineman who comes in with, we know he's got a pretty high floor, right? I really like the upside that Ty Haywood brings. And I think if I was going to go with one of these transfers, it would be someone on the O-line because all those guys have, lot of opportunities to get on the field. And I think that Haywood is probably the guy who I can say, yes, I think he's going to be a quality football player. I think he'll find a way to get himself on the field. And then once he's there, he has top 10 player on the team upside. So I think I'll go Ty Haywood as my pick.
I don't think that's a bad pick at all. I definitely think that he's going to be in the mix for one of these starting spots. Will he end up beating Jackson Lloyd or Javen James for that left tackle spot? Who knows? But I do think he's going to be in the mix for that. I totally recognize your logic. The offensive line, lots of opportunities, and Race and Nogati probably a really none of them are safe, but they're all a little bit risky, a little bit of bold swings. But I'm going to take the boldest swing here.
What is it?
Larkin Quinn will be a top 10 player for Alabama this year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we're going to go with, and I'm going to put him at 9. I'm going to put him at 9 or 10 because place kicker can't be much higher than that. But I think Alabama might have got someone in the transfer portal with the kicker, and like of course all the attention's on the offensive line. Yes, great, and you hope that they all end up being great, and if they are great, they could be in this list as well. But if Larkin Quinn, like let's just say the offensive line stays at what it was last year because so many new parts, so many young players, it's meh. I do think that you can have a real uptick. Like Connor had a good end of year. Connor Talty ended the year pretty well. He overcame the booing and overcame the high snap situation, yelling at my teammate situation fairly well. But I don't think he overcame it well enough to prevent the coaching staff from saying, hey, let's go out and get a guy. And I think Larkin Quinn has come in to take Connor Talty's job and to settle and solidify Alabama's place kicking position. You haven't really had solid place kicking since Coach DeBoer has been on campus. And so I think that, look, he's 21 of 26 on field goals last year. He's 1 of 1 inside 20 yards, 7 of 9 inside 30 yards, 4 of 5 inside 40 yards, and then perfect 5 of 5 from 49 yards and in, from that 40 and 49, and then 4 of 6 from 50 plus. I mean, how much pressure do you think you can tell me how much pressure you personally felt, but how much pressure do you think the Alabama defense felt knowing that Tate Sandell of Oklahoma could boom it from 56 yards, and as soon as they got to the 40-yard line, they were basically in field goal range? So you got to take some risk, and you got to make some plays to get Oklahoma off the field. All they got to do is get to the 40. If Alabama's offense just had to get to the 40 to score some points, are you winning more games than you did? Yes, you are. I think Larkin Quinn could become one of your top 10 players next year because he gives you more accuracy and he gives you a longer leg.
Well, now I'm thinking I should have went with Watford as my pick. I mean, this is another, like, you added 2 very, very talented specialists. Watford, the stats he put up last year at UNA, man, I believe, forget the number of 50-yard punts. It was very high amount. He would have ranked 10th in the FBS in, yards per punt, net yards, or whatever the number is. We added 2 specialists right away that could contribute. I think the one thing that makes me a little skeptical on Quinn is the fact that you brought in a small school kicker.
Marshall's not a small school.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we saw what happened with Nicholson. We saw that he just did not end up being the player Alabama thought it was getting, right? And that was a Grozo Award winner. Quentin was a high-level kicker. Nicholson was he Miami of Ohio?
Yes.
Yeah. So we got Mac, we got Sunbelt.
Basically the exact same school.
Yeah. No, it's a
just different colors.
Different colors.
Green versus red. Marshall Thundering Herd, green. Miami of Ohio, red.
And that's why, like the kicking race is going to be fascinating this offseason.
I agree.
Because, like, I like Connor Talty, man. I think pulling for him after what we saw him go through and experience last season. And he's got the experience taking those kicks in high leverage moments and in hostile environments. Like, let's be real. Quinn has never kicked in that kind of moment. Even when Marshall played whatever their bye games were.
Sure.
They went into the big stadiums. There was no hostility directed towards the Marshall players, right? It's a much more tame environment.
Yeah, Marshall played at Georgia. He kicked one extra point.
Yeah.
He made it, but come on. It's an extra point.
You didn't go out and drain, a kick from 40 yards in the Iron Bowl.
Right. And Connor Talty did.
Yeah. Connor Talty, first of all, showed the improvement towards the end of the year. And then also, you got a lot of those misses out of your system. It's not to say that you won't miss more next year if you win the job, but sometimes just going out there cause he missed at a lot of different SEC stadiums last season, but if it leads to a guy who is battle tested, who can go out and play in a big moment and handle the adversity, and a guy who's been booed just about everywhere, right? Including his own stadium. There's not much mentally that he hasn't seen or experienced at this point. And sometimes at the kicker position, that is the most important thing. Don't forget, Talty, number 2 kicker in his class. He has the pedigree, right? He has the talent. So I'm excited to see how the kicking race shapes up.
Yep, it'll be about 3 weeks away before Alabama gets started. A little under 3 weeks at this point. Get spring practice started. And I'm just taking I'm trying to follow Dax's lead and take a big swing. Take a big swing with somewhat of a bold take. I think Larkin Quinn will be one of Alabama's better players, and when we look back on this transfer portal class, you'll say, man, glad they got that guy. So we'll see what happens with the football side of things. We're going to wrap up the program right here today. I'm going to go talk to Ashley Johnston, Alabama Gymnastics, here in just a little bit, because Alabama is taking on the Auburn Tigers this weekend. Gymnastics team has been very, very, very good this year, so we'll see if they can keep it going. You can see that on the Bama Central YouTube channel here shortly. What else will happen? I'm out for the week. I'm taking off. Theo is in control. So make sure you follow Theo at Theo Fernandez _. Leave him a comment. Leave him a voicemail. I'll forward it on to him so he can play it. 205-462-7340 extension 800. If you want to leave him a comment or question on the Thursday or Friday show, he'll break down the Alabama-Arkansas game. He'll get you ready for Alabama baseball's next weekend series. Maybe we'll talk softball as well, as they're taking on Florida State this weekend. It's going to be a huge weekend ahead. I'm out the rest of the week. I appreciate everybody who's watched us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. Tons and tons of you listened yesterday on your favorite podcast platforms. I appreciate you so much for doing that, subscribing, rating, reviewing the show, sending the show to your friends. We're in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. I appreciate Derek. Call him at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. And visit roofturtle.com for all of your roofing needs. You don't have to just be in West Alabama. They'll cover you all across the Southeast, roofturtle.com. So I'll talk to you on Monday right here on the Joe Gaither Show. But Theo will be back tomorrow on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.